All right, what is good? What is good? What is good, everybody? What is good, everybody? What is good? It is great to be back here on the markets with you guys, breaking down exactly what it is that we're going to be looking for here today. I want to make sure that everybody is active, so I am sending it out to my team. Let's get active in the markets here today. Let's get active. Let's get active. Man, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend that we now have to cover. We got a lot of stuff to go over here. Boom. Okay. So we are now live. What is good? What is good, everybody? We are going to be breaking down what exactly we're going to be looking for here today in the markets and what exactly, what can we expect? We've seen a lot of stuff happen over the weekend, right? And so I want to make sure that we're going over all of these things and that you guys are able to join and ask your questions because we will be trading live today in our VIP. Now, what are the moves that we're looking for here today? Well, okay, let's actually get into it. We're going to start off by looking at the NASDAQ, the MNQ here. And what do we see happen? Well, we have this huge gap right here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you guys joining up here. We're going to be breaking down the markets and what we're expecting to happen following all the news that happened over the weekend and things that we could potentially be seeing. So, what actually happened, right? We got this gap open for our open here where price tanked lower on our open. Why did this happen? Well, over the weekend, Trump announced, right, that if they didn't open up the Strait of Hormuz, that the ceasefire was off, right? So how do we actually get this gap in the markets? Well, gaps are formed in the markets simply because price can move even when the markets aren't closed, right? So even when the markets are closed, price can still, in fact, move. And that, allegation that there will be no ceasefire is a bearish sentiment for our stocks, right? So what did we see happen? Well, we've seen over the weekend price actually push down. And so this is why it's so important. Two things, right? So why are gaps important? First, you need to know how they're formed, and then two, how you can protect yourself from gaps, right? So over the weekend, essentially, we closed up here, but then we opened down here. If you hold a trade into the weekend, right? Let's say you were holding a buy trade into the weekend. Well, you wouldn't actually get filled for your, let's say you had a stop loss right below this low here, and this was your trade. Let's say that you took this trade here, right? And you were looking for price to continue pushing up throughout the weekend or on the open. You were looking for, a steeper move up. Well, this could actually really hurt you because when we have the markets move over the weekend, you actually will not get filled at your stop loss right here. You'll actually get filled way back down here where the market actually opened up at. And this is why it can be so important to make sure that you're closing your positions during the before going into the weekend, because things like this can happen and it can really drastically change, the P&L on your account. So you need to be aware that gaps can form and the charts still do move over the weekend despite the markets being closed, right? Good morning, everybody. I appreciate the follow, chosen one. We're here breaking down the markets here today. Can you guys get us to 100 likes? Can you guys get us to 100 likes? Hopefully you guys get some value out of this. We're going to be breaking down exactly what it is that we're looking for. I appreciate the fan club. They're chosen. Good morning, LJ. Good to see you, have you on the live. Appreciate you guys for the follow. Y3J, I see you with the follow. I see you guys there. We're breaking down the markets and what exactly it is that we're looking for here today. And I'm on with you guys for 45 minutes so that you guys aren't blind to what's going on in the market. So once Trump released that there will likely be no ceasefire or ceasefire agreements have failed, this was actually a bearish sentiment for the NASDAQ, and just all of our stocks. And I actually posted it on my TikTok yesterday that, hey, look, we could see the markets open with a gap down. If you don't believe me, go to my page right now. You can see my most recent video was talked about yesterday that because of this, we could see a gap down. And that's exactly what we've seen on the open. So, okay, you guys are saying, okay, what is it that we could expect now that we've had this gap down? Now, there's two things that you need to know about gaps. One, you won't get your orders filled if you are holding positions over the weekend, right? So like he said, if you have a stop loss, let's say at this 25,200 and price opens at this 25,000, well, you're going to get filled at that 25,000 and it's going to really hurt your account there. So it's really important that you're closing your trades before the weekend, and especially when we're in such a news induced market that any specific tweet can, have this type of effect on the markets, right? So in terms of our price action, let's actually take a look at this on a price action aspect, right? What do we see happening here? Well, oftentimes we see that gaps get filled. So it's likely that price does gravitate back up to this 25 to, let's say 25,220, right? You guys know I like my solid whole numbers. 25,220 is definitely an area that price can gravitate towards, but we need to see how price is actually moving on our lower time frame to confirm these things. Can you talk about the dump going on right now? Absolutely. That's what we're covering. We're talking exactly about this dump and why we actually are seeing this. Okay, so you got to know two things, right? Especially with gold and with the stock market, right? War is a bullish sentiment for gold, right? What do I mean by war is a bullish sentiment for gold? Well, it is a safe haven asset. This means that in times of uncertainty, people are placing their money in gold, right? So what we've seen with gold when the ceasefire was announced, we actually seen gold begin to tank to the downside, right? And tank is a subjective word, but we actually started to see a move to the downside. Why? Because this means that stability was likely to come and add into the markets. Well, over the weekend, we had the talk about ceasefire agreements failed, right? We opened with this gap up or gap down, excuse me, but now price is beginning to climb higher simply because, again, that uncertainty that we have with the global and economic state, right? That's where we're in. So gold is a safe haven asset that if something like a ceasefire is announced, then we'll see gold go down as people are starting to remove their money from gold, or shall I say not transferring their money from other assets to gold. But gold is literally, if you are looking to invest, right, buying gold, and I don't mean just buying the chart gold, I mean buying physical gold is the best asset protection that you can have, because it is the currency that has lasted thousands and thousands of years, right? It is the exchange that we utilize. And throughout history, the price of gold just goes up. So that's what we can expect in terms of an economic standpoint. We're actually going to dive in to how the charts are actually moving. Again, I have a full breakdown or a full step-by-step journal. You guys can get my journal, right? Because my journal is how I, journaled all my trades, how I actually learned from it. You guys can get this absolutely free along with our blueprint completely free, right? And my blueprint is my step-by-step checklist, which we're actually going to go through here today on this live session. You can get my step-by-step checklist absolutely free. Just DM me the word ACE and I will send it to you. Like I said, this is absolutely free. This is what I attest to, the success that I've had in the markets utilizing this system and journaling my trades. A lot of you said that you didn't journal your trades this previous week. So if you didn't journal your trades this previous week, are you really trying to become a successful trader? Because how do you actually become a successful trader? You need to be tracking your business's growth. As a trader, you are a business owner. And how do you know if your business is growing if you're not tracking all of your keys, right? And so that is what I would recommend using. Just DM me the word ACE, ACE, and I will send that to you absolutely free so that you can get your own personal journal and my blueprint there, right? Okay, so what are we expecting to happen for the NQ? I just want to see you guys. Gaps filled already. Yeah, so the gap has filled, right? But we haven't filled the entire gap, right? Let's be real. This open was right here. This gap hasn't been filled until we reach that 25,200. Now, this is not to say that price couldn't go down, but this is saying that our likely draw is higher, right? We were able to capitalize off of portions of this move higher last night simply because we opened up with such a high volume gap, right? That's it, right? So let's actually take a look at the price action and see what the charts are telling us here. Okay, so on our 4-hour time frame, we are in a bullish wave, right? We can agree that this is in fact in a bullish wave here. Now, our current 4-hour candle is in fact bearish, and it's really an indecisive bearish candle. We still have about an hour and 48 minutes until this candle actually closes. And so there's still a lot of data left to be printed out here for this current candle. So we can't utilize that as our saving grace. Now let's actually come down here to the lower time frame and let's take a look at what we got going on the lower time frame. Well, we clearly had a nice high volume move to the upside. And then what we start to see is we see a rejection candle off of this around this 25 220 area. Really, we got it off of that 25 right there, that 25 200. That's where we're actually starting to see this rejection come into the markets here and actually push us a little bit lower here earlier on in the session. Now, how will I be looking to execute here today? You guys know that ACE stands for anticipate, confirmation, and execution. So right now what we're doing is we're anticipating what the markets could potentially do. And as of right now on our 5-minute time frame, our 5-minute time frame is telling me that, hey, look, we are going from creating higher highs and higher lows to now creating lower lows and lower highs. How do I see that? If you can't clearly see it with these candles here, then one thing I recommend, and all the things that I recommend to my team, if they're struggling to see the direction that price is actually going, then go ahead and move over to your line chart, right? Your line chart is going to be able to show you, hey, look, are we creating higher highs and higher lows, or are we creating lower lows and lower highs? Now, in this structure here, we had our low right here. So we're going to put out our low. And what is the low? The low is the lowest point that starts for the move that broke the high. So if this is my previous high, right, this would be the lowest point that started for the move that broke through my previous high. So in order to flip this 5-minute time frame from being in a bullish structure to being into a bearish structure, we need to see this low actually get broken. And what did we see happen? Well, we got that 25 200 retest, right, and rejection, and then we came down here and we broke through our key area of interest low. Now, what else is price doing now that we've created a lower low? It's come back to retest this area, right? This is confirming that, hey, look, this is a pretty strong level right here. And if price can actually reject off of this level, we could see a steeper move to the downside to create a lower low. Now, where would I actually see a lower low get created? Well, it would have to break through my current low. So my current low is at 25,086, like 25,086. So where I would anticipate price to gravitate to is back down to break below that 25,86 low right here. So coming into the markets today, our 5-minute time frame is confirming, hey, look, on the lower time frame, we're shifting from being bearish, or from being bullish, excuse me, to now being bearish. Our 4-hour time frame is in fact, you know, closing as, or appears to be, a bearish candle. Now let's actually take a look at this 4-hour candle, because this is something interesting here, right? Where does this 4-hour candle actually flip from being bearish to being actual bullish candle? Well, it needs to be above this 25,116 high, right? It needs to be above that area. That's right at this resistance on our 5-minute time frame that price needs to close above in order to be bullish on the 4-hour time frame. Now, going based off of what our 5-minute time frame is telling us, right? This area we want to see hold, right? And what I'm going to be waiting for specifically, oh, hold on. Let me read some of these chats. Go to his profile, message the word ACE. Yeah. If you want my free blueprint, DM me the word ACE and I will send it to you. You'll get my blueprint and trading journal, and you'll have that so that you can actually execute. I lot theory and zero resulted. I don't know what that means. I'm pretty new to all of this, so it sounds like you're speaking another language. Okay, I'll try to make sure that this is clear for you in the clearest way possible, right? Good explanations. Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys are getting some value out of this. I want to make sure that you guys are following me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're following me. And God's plan CBC. Let me know how I can make this better for you so that you can understand. I see Tony with the 1. I see Iz with the 1. Call Me Baby with the 1. LJ with the 1. Flawed and All with the 1. Liz with the 1. E-Man with the 1. Revive Hots with the 1. Random with the 1. Okay, so you guys are getting some value out of this, right? You guys are starting to understand how the markets are moving, and you know how we're gonna look to execute based off of how the markets are moving. So to the person who said I'm speaking gibberish here, I want you to know how the markets move. The markets move in waves, right? So if the market is moving like this, we can clearly identify that, hey, look, the market is going up, right? We can all agree that, hey, look, this market here, let me scoot it over. This is going up, right? Or we can see the market move like this where we're going down, right? There's three different types of market structure that we can have. We can have if we're going up like this, right? Which means our highs, and how I like to think of our highs is our mountain peaks, right? Think of it like a mountain peak, and our lows are our valley lows. So we have our mountain peak here. So this would be a high. So any mountain peak, let me see, is a high, right? So if this high, because it's a mountain peak, is higher than my previous high, and we read the charts from left to right, similar to how you read a book. You would read a book from left to right. So that's how we actually read the charts as well. So if this is my high here, and this high right here is higher than my previous high, guess what that makes this? It makes it a higher high. Boom. So if this is my low here, right? This is my low. Boom, that's my low, because any bottom here is going to be my low. So this is a low, this is a low, right? If this low is higher than my previous low, then that makes this what? Oh, a higher low. Literally a higher low. Why? Because this low here is higher than my previous low. So if we're creating higher highs and higher lows, that means that this structure is in fact bullish. What does a bullish structure mean? That just simply means that price is going up. That's it. Bullish equals up. That's all bullish means, right? That just means that price is going up. So if price is going up, then we would look for price to continue pushing up. So let's go over here and check out our other example here. Well, this is my high here, right? So we're going to set this off. This is my mountain peak. That's my high, right? So this high right here, so let's go to it. This high right here is lower than my previous high. Can we agree that this high is lower than my previous high? Well, if this high is lower than my previous high, that actually makes this, guess what? Rocket science here, a lower high. Boom. I cannot believe it. The high is lower than the previous high. It makes it a lower high. So since we are creating lower lows, oh wait, I already gave you guys my answer, right? This is a low here. Hold on. That's our low because this is our bottom point, right? Then we come over here. What is this low? Well, this low here is lower than my previous low because we read from left to right. So this low is lower than my previous low. That makes this, oh, rocket science here, a lower low. Oh my goodness, a lower low. And so if we're creating lower lows and lower highs, that just means that this structure is in fact bearish, right? Bearish. That's the term that we would use. And that just equals down. That's it. That's all it is. It just equals down. And so price shifts from creating higher highs and higher lows to sometimes creating lower lows and lower highs. So let's go back to our example here and put everything that you just learned with the higher highs and higher lows back into example here, right? So if this was my previous low here, which is the lowest point that starts for the break of my high, this is all one move. So I want you to understand this is all one move right here. So we have our low here. We have our high here. Price is creating higher highs and higher lows. This structure, this overall structure was bullish until somebody drop in the chat until. Drop in the chat until. Somebody drop in the chat until. Until, I see you with the until. Until we actually seen a lower low get placed in. This low here is lower than my previous low. Can we agree that this was my previous low? This was my high. This low is lower than my previous low. And that shifts the structure from being bullish to now being what? Well, bearish. And if we're anticipating price to be bearish, then all we need to see is a correction and then we would anticipate a lower low to get put in. So if I'm looking at this market here, well, this is where my low was at previously. I'm expecting some type of reaction off of this level here to now put in a lower low. That's it. Oh my goodness. We understand how the markets move. Somebody told me years ago that there's a difference between trading a strategy and trading how the markets actually move. And this is how the markets actually move. It's in a constant battle of higher highs and higher lows and lower lows and low highs, right? So we're shifting from being bullish to bearish, bullish to bearish. And if you can understand what wave you're in, then that's how you can formulate a plan to actually execute. And that's why we're going to trade live here today with our VIP members. So if you're not in our VIP, you can join our VIP completely free for 7 days. You can trade live with me and see how we're actually executing in the markets at no cost to yourself. If you don't get any value out of it, then cancel the subscription. Literally cancel it if you do not get any value in the first 7 days, right? And if you guys want to join me in our community and trade live with us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can join live. We're going to be going live at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time in our community. DM me the word join and I'll send you the link so that you can have that 7-day free trial. And at the very least, look, take advantage of the 7 days, right? Show up for those sessions and really sit and learn what it is that we're executing on, right? I see you guys. So are you guys getting some value out of this? Drop a like in the chat, or drop a 1 in the chat if you're getting some value. DM me the word join, Liz and Sherry. DM the word, so DM it to me and I'll send that to you guys. I see the ones in the chat. Hey man, 7-day free. I'm here. Yes, sir. DM me that in the chat, or not in the chat, but DM me join and I'll send it to you. Absolutely. So Liz, I see you with the 1. E-Man, I see you with the 1. You guys don't want this to be the last time that you see me. So follow me now, because we're going to hop on each and every day breaking down the pre-market prep so that you guys know exactly what it is that I'm looking for in the markets. Okay, so you guys are saying, okay, we want to see this move, or I'm saying that I want to see this move to the downside. What actually confirms an entry for me to be able to take a move on this downside, right? Because as of right now, price is just pushing up. We don't want to see price just come into this level and then immediately take sales. No, we're anticipating, but then we need to wait for the C, which is our confirmation. We need to see confirmation. Now, what are some signs of confirmation? This is not just any cookie cutter confirmation. We have to see the different clues that the market is giving us, right? So what would be a key confirmation? Well, let's dial down to our 1 minute time frame here. Now, what I want to see, 2 things that I need to wait for, right? The first thing that I need to wait for is my 9:30 open. 9:30 adds volume to the structure that we have. Why 9:30 specifically? And I mean 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you guys will see this in my journal, right? Or not in my journal, but in my blueprint, right? The first thing that we have to do is make sure that we're trading the New York session at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Now, it adds volume to our market. And why does it add volume? Because this is when the US banks are actually trading. That is when the most volume is going to be in the markets. And don't trust me, test me, right? I'll give you guys this free indicator, right? This indicator, FX market sessions. If you pull up you go to your indicators tab in TradingView and you type in FX market sessions, you'll see this here, right? And what we want to do is we want to pull this up. Now, I have it set to the London and New York, but if we pull it up here, we actually want to go through and uncheck the London, uncheck the New York, or the Tokyo, excuse me. And then we want to go ahead and check the New York session, right? That's the only session that I want. And I'm going to set this history to 100 days, right? The past 100 New York sessions. Not only that, I'm going to go ahead and save this as a default, and then we're going to hit OK. All right. So let's actually take a look and see how this is working here. It's still showing my London session. Why is it showing my London session? Show my New York session, shawty. Show the New York session. I need the people to see this. We're going to hit save as default, and there we go. All right. Now, what do we see happen during our New York session oftentimes? Now, oftentimes we see the most consistent volume happen during our New York session. What do I mean by consistent volume? I mean that nice high volume moves are happening in this session consistently. Now we have times where price is going to chop, right? That's okay. I need consistent volume in order to be able to execute. And at 9:30, we oftentimes get the consistent volume that we're looking for. And that's why specifically I trade that time generally only, right? 9:30 to generally just the whole New York session. But we want to start looking for trades at 9:30 and not before. Why? Because that we could have volume added to our structure at 9:30. So what do I want to see? The first thing that I need to see is if, one, can we get some reaction off of this area here that pushes us lower, right? Some type of bearish reaction that gives us a clue that price could actually go lower off of this level. Now, this isn't a random level that I chose. We chose this level because that's where our key low was at, right? The lowest point that broke through our high. Now, this structure remains bearish, right, until our high is broken. So until 25,195 is broken, this structure is still bearish. This is all one bearish wave. So anywhere within here, we could actually see a flip. Where is our most likely area to see a flip? Well, somewhere right here where we formed our previous low, if we can actually get back below this level here, right, and price to retest this area and say, hey, look, this is a strong area. Put some respect on this 25,110 level. We could actually see a move back down into 25,073, right? But we have to wait for that confirmation, and that confirmation is going to happen after that 9:30 open. So this is what I'm looking for here today in the markets currently, right? This can shift as we get more price action and more candles printed in. But as of right now, this is what I'm anticipating. Are you guys getting some value out of this? T, I see you with the follow. You guys don't want this to be the last time that you see me. So go ahead and drop a follow right now. Drop a follow. Fabian, I see you with the follow. Liam, I see you with the follow. Revive with the follow. You guys are getting value out of this. I'm taking you guys' follow as a full-on example that you guys are getting some value out of this and you guys want to show up, right? Is this Nas futures? Absolutely. Do I work with futures? Absolutely. Adrian, I see you with the follow. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Slim, you're picking up what I'm putting down. That is absolutely amazing. I'm glad this is making sense to you guys, right? This is making sense to you guys. If this is making sense, can we get to 10K likes? Can we get to 10K likes? I have about another 35 or let's say another 15 minutes to be on with you guys. I want to make sure that you guys are getting value, and I don't want this to be the last time you see it, right? So if you are getting value out of this, share the live. I want more people to be able to get this value, right? I don't want you guys, don't just hoard the information that you're getting. I'm not hoarding it. Go ahead, send it out. This is enough value for everybody to learn from. Okay, so that's what we're expecting for the NASDAQ, and we're going to wait for our confirmation to actually be able to take sales on this move to the downside. Again, if you want my step-by-step blueprint that I go through each and every day with our team in our live sessions, and my trading journal, which I have been journaling my trades since 2022 for the past 4 years of data, right? 4 years of data. Most of you don't even know the trade that you took last week. Right? I can go to a trade that I took 4 years ago simply because I've been studying and I've been journaling it. I'll give this to you free. DM me the word ACE, and I'll send you my journal and my blueprint absolutely free. DM me the word ACE, right? And if you guys want to join me live, we're going to be trading live in our VIP. You guys can get a 7-day free trial to our VIP if you DM me the word join, right? So we go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want you guys to take advantage of those 7 days. And if you don't get any value out of it, just cancel the subscription. Literally just cancel it, right? If you don't get no value out of this, then I did a disservice to you. Right. And that's why I'm giving it to you for free, so that you guys can actually see the value that we give out in these sessions. Right. That's what this is all about. So let me see here. Do you teach futures trading? Absolutely. I teach futures trading. This is what we trade here. I see the ace. I see you guys with the ace. DM me the word ace, though. Don't drop it in the chat. DM me the word ace so that I can make sure that you guys get that. We are bullish for the rest of the day, by the way. We might be. And if we are bullish, we need to first see the confirmation, right? We first need to see the confirmation. And guess what? We got weak confirmation here. If you're seeing this and you're saying, oh, we're just bullish. Well, there's two things that you got to realize with this right here. One, we have no bottom wick on both of these 5-minute candles. Not a very good. If you were in our VIP, you would know how we feel about these no bottom wicks. Look at price. It looks like it's trying to create a bottom wick right now, right? There it is, right? You guys would know how I feel about these no bottom wicks. And you would also know that we could actually have volume to push us to the downside on that 930 open. But our VIP members know this, right? They know how to set up the charts. They know how we're executing. They know what confirmation they're looking for. Why? Because we go over it so many times that it's imprinted on their brain. It is imprinted. They've been able to see the reps in real time, right? And if price is bullish, we can still execute off of it. Oh my gosh, we could still execute off of it. We just need to see our bullish confirmation, right? But as of right now, we're in a bearish market structure, and that's what we're going to look to capitalize off of. And that's what we're going to be looking to execute on, simply based off of the clues, because we're market detectives, the clues that the markets are giving us. And as of right now, it's giving me bearish clues, right? It's giving me bearish clues. Again, this 4-hour candle has to hold above 25,116 in order for this 4-hour candle to close as a bullish candle. What do we see with this 4-hour candle? A strong rejection here of these 25,200 highs, right? And so within the last 30 minutes, I don't care if it's the last 30 minutes, the last 10 minutes of this 4-hour candle, is if we're below this 25,116 level, price is bearish. Right? We're bearish, and we're already lower time frame confirmed bearish trend. So we're looking for a steeper bearish move to the downside based off of the structure that we currently have, right? That's it. That's it. We're based off of the structure that we currently have. Is this micros? Yes, this is. Rigo, I see you with the follow. Nick, I see you with the follow. Unknown user, I see you with the follow. What time frame? We're currently looking at the 15-minute time frame. Sellers are pushing. They are trying to drive the markets lower, but we got to see, right? We have to see how price is actually going to form, specifically at our 930. The 930 is generally going to set our direction, right? We'll see volume in either bullish or bearish, but it'll set the direction, right? It'll give us that extra confirmation of where price actually wants to go, and that's why it's important that we wait for it. So let's actually take a look at some other assets here. What are some other assets that we want to take a look at here? Well, let's take a look at gold, right? Gold opened with this gap down, similar to all of our assets, right? And our previous 4-hour candle closed as a bearish candle here. Well, that is alarming, because what do we know? With our next 4-hour candle, we could likely see that wick break, and we did see that wick break. But we actually have to dial down to the lower time frame to see what this is actually telling us. Like, what are we seeing here for gold, right? Where is the direction, and where is our overall draw, and where could we see price potentially go? So if we take a look at our line chart here, if you guys were confused, this is our line chart. What is our line chart showing us? Well, we had a high get created. We had a low. This is on the 30-minute time frame. We had a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a lower low, a lower high, nice retest, a lower low. So this is shifting from now being in a bullish market structure to now being in a 30-minute bearish market structure. What would actually confirm that this market structure is now back into being bullish? Well, you would have to break our key high. What is the key high? The key high is the highest point that started for the break of our low. If this is our low here, this is the highest point that started for the break of the low, means that 44.7, let's say 44.745 is the area that price needs to actually break and close above in order to flip this structure from being bearish to being bullish now. And what do we also know that we talked about on our 4-hour time frame? Well, the previous 4-hour candle closed as a bearish candle, which is telling us that, hey, look, sellers are in the markets. They might not be very strong right now, but we do see sellers in the markets, right? And what is that area? That area is going to be that 47.50, right? That 47.50 is that highest level that price would need to break above in order for this structure to be 30-minute time frame bullish rather than being bearish. And where could we see price go? Well, we could see price come back down to target our current low. What is our current low? That's at 47.25, right? Solid whole number, 47.25. So as of right now, we're anticipating for price to gravitate towards this 47.25, unless somebody type in the chat, unless. Somebody type in the chat, unless. Unless. I see you, E-Man, with the unless. I see you, LJ, with the unless. I see you guys with the unless. Unless we break above 47.50. right? 4750 shifts our lower time frame structure from being bearish to now being bullish. I see you, yo artist with the unless. Call me your baby. I see you. I see you, CT with the unless. You guys, if you guys are getting value out of this, be sure to drop a follow. I don't want this to be the last time that you guys see me, right? We're going to come on here every day, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We even on here on the weekend, breaking down what we could potentially see for the next week, right? So not only are we going to recap each week, but then we're going to give you what we're looking for on the next week. I see you guys with the follow, Josh with the follow, Tajada? I don't know. I messed that up. Ahmed, I see you with the follow. Steph, I see you with the follow. Your artist, I see you with the follow. The Chewies, I see you with the follow. So I just want to make sure that you guys are following me. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Drop a 1 in the chat if I'm making sense here today. Drop a 1 in the chat if I'm making sense. Is this making sense to you guys? Are you guys getting value? I want to make sure that you guys are getting value. Because if we're not getting value, then I'll stop this right now. I'll stop it right now. Tanea, I see with the 1. LJ with the 1. The Chewies with the 1. Okay, so you guys are getting some value out of this. You guys are actually learning something here today. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time or you guys' time, because time is our most valuable asset. So we want to make sure that we're using it, properly here. So you guys are getting value. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down here. Again, if you low-key glazing, but you are very good at explaining all this. It's not glazing, man. I've spent years to try to learn it, and not only to try to learn it, but the simplest way of actually teaching how the markets work. That's my goal, right? That's why I started For the Culture FX, because it's for you guys, right? I know how to read the markets, but when I first started, my biggest thing is I just wanted to know so bad how to do this for myself, right? And 6 years later, now I understand exactly how to do this for myself. I know what I'm looking for, how I'm looking for, and not only that, but how to explain it in a way that it makes sense. Because the markets, you might look at the charts and you like, oh my goodness, it might as well be like sitting in front of a cockpit of an airplane, right? When you hop onto the charts, you just got these candles, they're going up, they're going down, right? You don't know what's going on, right? But the markets are like a puzzle, and each time frame gives you a piece. Each candle that's printed gives you a piece of the puzzle. And it's our job as market detectives to take all of these pieces and put it together to give us the clues as to what could happen next, right? That is where preparation meets opportunity, and that's how you see success. So right now we're preparing, and then we're going to wait for our opportunity, right? And then we're just going to let the markets do what the market does. That's it. That is our only job. I actually was listening to the book Trading in the Zone yesterday, and Trading in the Zone, everybody recommends it, Trading in the Zone, read this book, right? So I was listening to it, and Trading in the Zone talks about more so the mentality that it takes to become a successful trader. You guys can understand exactly how these markets are moving, but you can still find yourself hesitant when you see your confirmation, right? Or you're not holding your trades to full take profits, right? You're not having the confidence to execute, even though you know exactly what the markets could potentially do, right? So I'm here to help you guys unshield your eyes in order to be able to read the markets. But that's what our VIP group is, to actually build your confidence, right? To understand how to execute, how to journal your trades. Because in order to become a profitable trader, you first need to think like a profitable trader. How does a profitable trader think? How does a profitable trader manage risk? How is a profitable trader going about the markets? That's what our VIP group is for. And that's why I'm going to give you guys absolutely free 7 days. Join me. We're going to be going live in our VIP at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time today. You can join me. DM me the word join, and I'll send you the link so that you can join us absolutely free for 7 days. Take advantage of these 7 days, right? Really dive into the live sessions, ask questions, watch how we're executing, right? I want you guys to learn how to trade. And if you don't get any value out of it, cancel the subscription. You are not obligated to stay. Cancel the subscription, right? But most of our members who join, they want to stay because they're getting so much value, and they're learning, they're building their confidence, and more importantly, they're being able to execute in the markets, not just with me, but by themselves as well, right? And our community, right, is invaluable, right? The people in the community, they're really, truly elite traders, and they all have what it takes to become successful in the markets. And I believe that you all have what it takes to become successful in the markets as well. Go sell. What website do you do in regards of news release and futures? Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. So if you come over here to our blueprint tells you the very second step that we have on the blueprint says check my FX book right here for any news events for the sesh, right? So how we would do this, we go straight. You can see it's already favorited here. You go through, and what we're looking for specifically is the high impacting news for the USD, right? And if you look at it today, what do we have? We have some news coming out at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do have some high volume news. So this could add volume into the markets. It says it here. It helps us to spot potential volatility, and it can be good to know depending on if an account allows news trading, especially if you're trading with prop firms. You need to be looking out for these news events, because the T1 news events, which is going to be like your NFP, which is non-farm payroll, which is just the government's way of seeing what the unemployment rate is, CPI, which is your consumer price index, FOMC, which is the Fed Open Markets Committee. They monitor, they control monetary policy so that, if inflation is high, they control the interest rates and things like that. These are news events that you actually can't trade on certain prop firms. So you definitely want to be on the lookout for if you can trade with each news event with your specific prop firm. Now, I know that, existing home sales, even though it's a high impacting news, this isn't a news event that's going to give us any trouble when it comes to trading on prop firms, right? It's really just those T1 news events that are really going to add that there. So if you want my free blueprint, DM me the word ACE, ACE, right? And I'll send you my blueprint along with my free trading journal. It goes through everything that we do each and every day, right? Absolutely free, but you got to DM me the word ACE. How much is the VIP? The VIP is only $50, but you can join absolutely free for 7 days. Trade with me, take full advantage of it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And yeah, just DM me the word join and I'll send it to you. So no limit. You have to DM me the word join. Make sure you DM me the word join. I see you, Marquez, with I DM you on TikTok. Will you explain the taxes one has to pay after they pass their funded? So it depends, right? Taxes vary depending on where country you're in, what state you're in. I know that as a rule of thumb for the US, right? 35% of what you make, I just put that away for taxes already, right? I'm not a financial advisor, and you do need to talk to your own accountant and things like that to figure out what it is for you. But as a safe rule of thumb, 35% away to taxes, and then what you have left, which is 65%, you want to split that 50-50. So 50% of that you want to put towards a savings. The other 50, you want to split that last 50 into 25-25, 25 for growth, right? And then 25 for bills or anything that you may have, right? So that's personally how I manage the funds that come in with prop firms, especially once you get funded. And then there's some tax benefits to opening up an LLC, trading under a business. That way you can get, some different, tax breaks and things like that. For instance, your equipment, your internet, if you have an office in your house, things like that. Those are some things that'll give you some tax breaks so that you're not paying so much in taxes, or at least that you get some money back in taxes. 12 capital for the US. IRA Roth. Yeah. So are you guys getting value out of this? Be sure to drop a follow. We almost have 100 followers, right? And can we get 20,000 likes? Can we get to 20,000 likes? I literally have like 5 more minutes to be here with you guys. I want to make sure that you guys are getting value out of this. I got 5 more minutes. That's it. That's all we got. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes. The NASDAQ showing signs of a bullish structure here. Are we going to be in fact bullish if we close above this 25, let's say 25,166? Then we could see a steeper move up. If we do see a bullish move, my target is going to be this 25,220, right? 25,220 resistance. That's where we actually get our gap filled, right? So that's where I'm going to look for price to go if we are in fact bullish, but we have to wait for that confirmation. As of right now, there's no confirmation for myself, and we need to wait for that 930 open. Let's take a look at the ES here. The ES is the monkey see, monkey do with the NASDAQ here, right? We were creating, if we're looking at it on a 15-minute time frame, we're creating higher highs and higher lows, right? We had a high. I mean, this is pretty kind of a choppy structure, but we had a high, we had a low. Price didn't break. It pushed lower, but didn't break our previous low. And then we created a high, right? So this was the lowest point that started for the move to break our high right here. Boom. So what did we see happen? Price actually pushed below this level here. And if it breaks above this area of interest here, then we can see a steeper move to the upside, right? So that means that price needs to break and close above this level here. We can see a steeper move to the upside. And again, that gap fill is what I'm going to be looking for to target if we do in fact see price be bullish. Now, if price is in fact, we get a strong bearish signal off of this level, right? Because this is where we're seeing that actual retest form. Then we want to look to target this 6,800 level and potentially a steeper move to the downside. We could target resistance here. We have a resistance gap here at this like 6795, excuse me. And then potentially a weekly break of this low back down here at this 6767. Yeah, I'm saying. So that's where we would look for price to go potentially here today. And as of right now on our market currently, we're pretty bullish. So if we can get a break and closure above, a nice retest, because I need to see retest, that's going to be my confirmation, then we'll look for price to be long up to this 6,846 and we'll take buys to fill the gap. But we need to wait for the price action to see how price is moving. The YM is showing us a much different structure, right? The YM is showing us, hey, look, buddy, we went up, but we trying to push back down. This is a high impulsive move on this 15-minute time frame here from our 7:15 open, right? Price just pushed down with a ton of volume, giving us, hey, look, giving us the clue that, hey, look, we might want to be bearish on the YM. And so where would I anticipate the YM to gravitate towards? Well, we're going to look for it to gravitate towards this current weekly low, which is at this 47,544 level. That's where we would anticipate price to gravitate to. Now, what would indicate that price is actually going from being bearish to being bullish? Well, we have a slow up in volume here. And if we see a lower time frame shift, what is a lower time frame shift? That's just the smaller time frame confirming that we're going from creating lower lows and lower highs, right? And this is on the 1 minute time frame. We're going from creating lower lows and lower highs within this time frame here to now creating higher highs above this area here and higher lows. We can look for price to gravitate back up into these area of interest highs. Just know that this is going to have a good amount of volume, right? And then we could see this move all the way back up potentially to this 47,950 level and then potentially back up here to fill the gap. As of right now, most of the signs are telling us that, hey, look, based on our current price action, we're going to the downside, but that doesn't mean that price has to go down. I want you guys to understand that trading is all about if-thens. If this happens, then I'm going to do this. If this happens, then I'm going to do this, right? That's how trading works. That's how trading works. I appreciate you with the follow, August. For Lisa, I appreciate the follow. Duty with the follow. Leonardo, I appreciate you guys with the follow. I appreciate all of you guys, right? You guys crushed the 20,000 likes. That's what I'm looking for here today. Again, one more time, if you guys want my free blueprint, right? This is going to be absolutely free to you, along with my trading journal, which is, I can attest, is the reason why I've had the success in the markets that I've had and why I have the confidence that I have, why I'm able to show up to the markets with confidence and tell you guys, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. This is how I'm going to execute. DM me the word ACE and I'll send this to you. And we're going to be going live in our VIP in just about 25 minutes now. So if you want to join us in our VIP for today's live trading session and you want to trade live with me and join our immense community, or not immense, but intense community of elite traders, you can DM me the word join. I'll send you the link. You can trade with us for 7 days completely free. Take full advantage of this, right? And if you don't get any value out of it, you can just cancel it, right? Absolutely cancel it. My name is Kyron Idebert. This is For the Culture FX, where I give back to you guys. This is my way to, utilizing the skill that God has given me. Again, my name is Kyron Idebert. I appreciate you guys tapping into today's live, and I will see you guys tomorrow.